I was the head of our delegation for the Beijing conference, and when we came back, it was very clear that one of the things that we needed, one of the things we had to commit to, was getting more women to the table, and that born was WCI. I can remember many years ago when in Malawi, where there were a group of men determining what the HIV/AIDS policy was going to look like. There was one woman in the room, and they had crossed out giving preferential treatment for ARVs, antiretroviral drugs, to women who were pregnant. They had crossed it out. And she happened to have nursing experience. She was also a member of parliament whom we had helped get elected. And she said, wait a minute, why did you cross that out? And they said, well, why should we do that? And she explained it to them, and they put it back on the list. That's the reason we have to be there. We have to be there so that there's a listening.
Women are women! Women are Senator!
Why is it important to prioritize women is because women plays an important role not only in the society, in the community, but even in the family where everything starts.
We've been serving those tables, we've been washing those tables, we've been looking at those tables, we've been cooking for those tables. We want to be at those tables now.
Our program is a 3-year program, and then we have to leave. And in order for it to be sustainable, we couldn't just rely on aid, so we had to make it about the training and the skills development and the building of sustainable initiatives where women can create their own change in their own communities. You don't have to be literate to come to these trainings. You don't have to have a high school education. You don't have to run a business. You just have to want to come.
Recently, I participated in a training in Kabul, Afghanistan. We worked with the newly elected women members of parliament. One of the women afterwards came to our hotel to talk to WCI staff and tell us how much they appreciated the training. One of the women who's in the upper house of the parliament began singing "We Shall Overcome." And as she sung the words, we all became very emotional.
Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. We are not alone, we are not alone.
You know, we had a woman in Ethiopia that had attended our political participation training, and I spoke with her a few years ago, and she said, I wouldn't even stand up to speak at your first training, and because I felt confident how to speak politically, I was able to run within my group of peers, and I had the confidence to stand up and do that. That's the type of thing that Women's Campaign International does.
Time and time again, after our programs and trainings and workshops with women, we hear the same feedback, that this was the best training that they had ever received, that these are the skills, practical and technical, that they need to fulfill their roles as leaders. And it humbles us.
We have a rural woman farmer who was weaving cloth. She had one small loom in a village in Liberia. We worked with her and did an assessment and said, what can we do to enhance your ability, to increase your income, to help your community? And she said, well, maybe we can purchase more of these looms. So we purchased more looms. We trained people in weaving this traditional Liberian cloth.
In the beginning, when we came to our project, there was 3 looms that they had spread out across a little area. And then when we went back, they had 8 weavers weaving on different looms. They had 4 tailors sitting there. They had electricity in the gazebo where they were working so they could work a little bit later. And there were different people there learning how to make sure that they managed the money correctly and make sure that everything was put away correctly.
She now employs 20 people in her village. So she not only increased her own individual wealth, but she increased the economic stability of her entire village. She's a leader.
incredibly important is partnerships on the ground amongst women, women's networks. Women in the rural areas, women in the urban areas, and young women all working together and networking and sharing resources, sharing knowledge, and building businesses together.
I went to Albania for a conference. There was one moment where it was a panel of women politicians from Albania, and all the audience was young women from university. And one young woman got up to ask a question to a politician, and she said, "You say women need to get more active in politics. We all agree. So take me in now, train me, help me."
I think I understand with all these women that I've worked with around the world that we're more alike than we are different.
My wish is to see more and more NGOs following the steps of WCI.
The women that I've met, the places that I've gone, have changed my perspective on the way that I view the world and how individuals can make an impact.
This experience at WCI is what will have made me someone who's always restless to actually make change.
People don't have to work with us and be a WCI employee to be advocates of WCI and the work that we do.
To be sure, if there are more women at the table, there is less corruption. More things are done for education, for children, for healthcare, because they care about those issues.
Women! Women! Don't say that! Do something!